Hello, welcome to this episode in the basic series called Running a Match with Athena. I'm John Becker with Shooters Technology, makers of the Orion Scoring System and the Athena electronic scoring target. We're going to cover how to run an Athena match using the Orion desktop software. This is currently only available for club license holders. The match is controlled within the Orion desktop software under the appropriately named Range Control tab. And there are 4 items specific to an Athena match that you have to be aware of and will make note of. They are, you have to confirm that your proposed course of fire is supported. We have many of them, but we do not have all courses of fire supported yet, but we are adding more constantly. Another item to watch for is that squatting and relay assignments and firing points must be filled out. We'll cover how to send the match to your range, and then once the match is started, how to use the range commands provided. So let's jump over to the desktop software. This part will be the same as you're used to seeing. You open it, you get a welcome screen. We're going to go ahead and create a local match. Call it whatever you want. We're just going to do a 3x10. So rulebook is National Standard 3-position air rifle rules. Course of fire is 3x10. What you want to check is the item right here, supported by Athena. If, let's see if I can find one that is not yet supported, like 120 shot standing match is not supported by Athena. So if you were to pick this, you cannot push it to your range. But for our purposes, 3x10, 3x20, 40 shot, 60 shot, standing finals, etc., 3-position finals are all supported by Athena. Kind of, I like to categorize it as the major matches or match formats, courses of fire that most users will encounter. So again, we'll select 3x10. Everything else can stay the same. This knows if you push it to Athena, you don't have to select target types. Result center, again, if you're going to host a larger match, you should make it public. But if you just want to allow athletes to view it on the mobile app, that's fine. Again, just like a regular match, competitor numbers you can set if you want to, if it is a sanctioned match with CMP, you would add that information here. If you want to track separate shooter types, or if they're newer or by gender or age, you'd set that here. So this part is pretty standard. Again, the main item is to verify that it is a supported course of fire. So it'll load, it'll bring in your favorites. Again, just like any other match, if you had outside teams, you had other people competing, you would add them here just like normal. What I want to draw your attention to is under the Range Control tab. So there's 2 ways to send the match to your electronic targets. One is the drop down here. You can select which relay. You can then send the relay to the targets. So what I want to draw your attention to specifically is this next confirmation form. It's going to ask you, just be sure, are you sure you want to send relay 1? What do we do with empty firing points? You have the choice to include them as hospital points. You can do nothing with them, just ignore them. You can send air rifle practice or air pistol practice to them. Let's say you had your varsity team shooting a match and your JV team practicing, you could do that. And if you had the NC 200 target, you can send a small bore practice to those other lanes. So again, at this point, we're assuming this is a major competition. You always want to include a hospital point, so we'll do that. We'll send the relay. Now, here's what I wanted to draw your attention to. So it says no competitors were sent, and that is because we have not set firing points. We have not assigned firing points. The default is everybody's on relay 1. Well, this may not match your range size. You know, if this was, there's only 5 competitors in this example, but if this had 50 competitors, everybody defaults to relay 1 and you have 10 firing points, that's a problem. So again, just a habit I want you to get into is making sure that your relays and firing points are assigned. Because obviously, if you were printing labels, you don't need to do this. It makes it easier to organize, but you're not required to do it. But with Athena, you have to do it because we're pushing names and information to each firing point. So in our case, we'll just make it very simple. We'll just say we have 2 firing points, or we have 3 firing points. Okay, so we have them, I have these competitors squatted in 3 different relays on 2 different firing points. Just again, a very basic example. But now if you go back to the range control, or even if not, but now your drop down has multiple relays. When I go to push relay 1, I'm still asked, what do I want to do with my extra firing points? So can include them as a hospital point, do nothing. Again, this drop down doesn't change. Then I go ahead and send the relay. What you see on the relay display in the bottom corner is what the athlete monitor looks like at their firing point. So this is firing point number 1, relay number 1. John Adams is assigned. You'll see his competitor number, and then you'll also note there are some commands. Right now, you're in the pre-competition phase, and there is the stop signal with the X downrange, and on your athlete monitor, this is an added safety measure to just take any doubt whether or not the athlete should be firing. So far we've confirmed that this is the correct course of fire and Athena supports it. We've squatted our athletes, which is both assigning relays and firing points, and we've sent our match to the range. Now we'll talk about using the range commands. Up here, again, on the range control tab, up here is a couple of items that you'll see. Current commands would be up here, which is blank, and then notes about that command. And then there's also a gray box for your next commands and notes for it. So there's a timer. So again, we're in the pre-competition phase. This is, allowing the range setup. This is basically where the range officer will kind of brief the crowd, brief the competitors, and then this is before athletes start moving their equipment to the line. Again, because you can preview the next command, you can see that the next command will be the welcome screen. So when you're ready to execute that, you just hit next command. You'll notice it shows up on the athlete monitor. It shows up on the displays if you're using television displays on our MM100. And, the current command that's displayed says, "Welcome to the match 29 July 2022, three-position air rifle match." This would come from whatever you name your match. So back to match properties, this is where it's picking up. So if you called this the, Centennial George Washington Cup, that's what would show up. And again, you have notes, range officer begins each relay by calling athletes to the firing point and then welcoming them to the competition. It previews your next command. At this point, all we're running is a clock on the display, and here for your reference, this isn't a timer yet because these aren't timed commands. But next command, relay number 1, you may move your rifles and equipment to the firing line, so you go ahead and execute that. You'll see it shows up on the athlete monitor. It shows up again on the MM100s, the television displays. Again, this is all the pregame, but it requires you as a range officer to execute the command when you're ready, because you may have called folks to the line, but not everybody's in yet. Um, Safety issues, but this is where you would start to execute that. So when you're ready, time-wise, you can say you can execute your next command. You may uncase and handle your rifles. Again, shows up on the athlete monitor and here for the range officer, as well as on the televisions. So we've had them uncase. We're going to issue the next command. Take your positions. And again, the notes right out of the rule book are helpful. Just as a reminder, in this case, the take your positions command should be given at least 15 minutes before the start time. Start is when record firing starts. Allow a minimum of 5 minutes for the athletes to prepare. So in the effort to not make this video too long, we're not going to do it real time, but you would do that. And so our next command is the start of prone sighters, preparation and sighters. So when you're ready to execute that, again, minimum of 5 minutes, but usually 15 minutes, then you would go ahead and issue that command. One thing I want to point out is there is a minimum 3-second delay before you can execute commands. You can go backwards, but what we're trying not to do is do too many double clicks, especially under the timed categories. So you'll get a warning that you must wait at least 3 seconds using the next command. So just point that out. But let's go back to, oh, caught me doing it too. So again, this is the overview. This is what shows up on your screen on the athlete display. Notes for less experienced range officers, but your next command down here will be the start of sighters. So we'll execute the next command when you're ready. Sighting shot start. What you'll notice on the screen on the athlete display is the X's and O's will show up for 5 seconds and then go away. And then the timer starts counting down. So in this case, per the rules, you have a 8-minute preparation and sighters. We'll go ahead and
what I do want to
turn
draw
the
your
simulation on. I don't have
is
active athletes on
the
this
gray
range,
box
but
showing up under the next command. You'll see under notes that it says automated. That is a unique feature in our more common courses of fire, where that display will automatically show up. So you do not have to hit the next command.
Now, best practice is you still need to make a verbal announcement on the range, but that's just one less thing you need to do. So if you'll notice on the athlete display monitor, it'll show up right there, shows up 30 seconds. It advances your command. So as the range officer, you'll notice that that command, current command was executed. Your next command will be sighting shot stop, which is also automated. When we get to the end of the period, so there's our sighting shot stop command. Fortunately, my simulation didn't follow range orders, but um, again, just just another feature to take some of the monotony out of it and make your life a little easier. But again, so you've finished sighting shots, you want to make sure the range is clear, everything is safe, you're ready to move into the next position, I'm sorry, next phase, which would be 10 minutes for 10 record shots in this match. So once you have, determined that the range is clear and you're ready to go, you, as the range officer, would execute that command by hitting the next button. Again, will show up on the display monitor. The green light will go away after 5 seconds and they can start firing. You'll notice that the next command shows up as automated. That'll be the 5 minute warning, 5 minutes of time remaining. So, what I would like to point out is just because this is an Athena match, you still have all the under the hood power of the Orion system. So scoring, match results, analysis. If you want to print individual score sheets, if that's your kind of range standard or standard practice, you can still do the sorts the way you normally do. It pushes out to Result Center like it always has. So nothing there has changed. Basically, you just have this added tab of the range control, again, as an assistant and a command center for the range officer. As always, I want to thank you for being a client. If you have any questions or need support, you can reach out to our support email or call the office. You can also look at the support website, check out Facebook or YouTube for other training videos. And again, don't forget to like or subscribe. There will be links to other playlists for videos for those of you that are still getting started or want more information about the system.